You stand at the edge of something vast, though you may not yet see it. The hours you thought belonged to you are not yours to bargain with, and the seconds slipping past are not waiting for your permission. A voice has been calling you, not in the clamor of the streets or the noise of the world, but in the quiet, unguarded moments when you almost dared to listen. That voice is not merely a suggestion, it is a summons. And the tragedy would not be in failing to understand it, but in pretending you never heard it at all. There are moments in life when truth knocks so sharply that to delay opening the door is to lose it entirely. You imagine you have tomorrow, perhaps 1,000 tomorrows. Yet the most dangerous lie ever whispered to humanity was not that there is no truth, but that there is no hurry. The sands in your hourglass are already lower than you think. What if the door closes tonight? What if the chance you have right now is the last one you will ever have? The impossible thing is not to climb mountains or to conquer enemies. The impossible thing is to surrender, to lay down your pride, your fear, your comfort, and to give yourself wholly to the one who has been following you like a shadow in the sunlight. To do so is not weakness. It is the most defiant act against the chains of this world. The irony is that your freedom lies not in claiming your independence, but in kneeling before the only one worthy of your allegiance. The clock is not slowing. You may think the decision before you is small, but eternity has never been small. The great chasm between light and darkness is bridged only by a single step, and that step must be taken now. You cannot sail halfway to the shore and call yourself safe. The waves will take you unless you make the leap to solid ground. You may feel unworthy, but your worth has never been in question. It was settled long before you took your first breath. Yet a gift left unopened becomes, for you, as if it were never given. Imagine standing at the gates of the kingdom, realizing the feast was prepared for you and you turned away because the road looked too narrow. The door stands open, the voice is calling, but it will not shout forever. When the time comes, the door will close, not in anger but in finality. What you choose in this breath will echo into eternity. This moment, these 35 fleeting seconds are not just passing, they are deciding. And when they are gone, you will either rejoice that you answered, or mourn that you didn't. Time is shorter than you think. Delayed obedience is dangerous. You believe you have more time than you truly do. The illusion of endless tomorrows is perhaps the most effective deception ever whispered into the human heart. It makes you slow to act, cautious when courage is needed, and dismissive when urgency should be your constant companion. The hours you spend believing that the decision before you can wait are hours that you cannot get back. Every tick of the clock is not merely a sound in the air. It is the sound of something priceless being spent, something you will never touch again. The strange thing about time is that it always feels abundant until it is suddenly gone, and only then do you realize how little you had to begin with. The danger of delay is not just that opportunities pass by, but that your very heart changes in the waiting. The conviction that feels strong in you today can grow faint tomorrow. The moment when you feel compelled to act is often the moment when you are most capable of doing so. Postponement weakens resolve. It gives doubt a foothold. It allows distractions to multiply until the thing you were once certain about becomes just another faint memory in the background of your life. And so, without even realizing it, you drift, not because you made the wrong decision, but because you made no decision at all. You must understand that the stakes are far higher than you think. We imagine that every choice is reversible, that every road will still be open later, but this is not true. Some roads close when the sun sets. Some doors lock forever after they are shut. The opportunity you have now is not guaranteed to be here an hour from now. Time is a living thing. It moves, it changes, it does not freeze for your convenience. To hesitate is to gamble with something infinitely precious, and the odds are never in your favor when you assume the next chance will be waiting patiently for you. Consider how often we say, "I'll do it when I'm ready," without realizing that readiness is rarely a feeling that simply arrives. Readiness is born out of action, not the other way around. If you wait until every question is answered, until every fear is silenced, you will wait until the grave. The perfect conditions you imagine are a mirage. They vanish as you approach. The truth is that your moment to act has already arrived, and your hesitation is not the mark of careful wisdom. It is the seed of regret. What makes this even more dangerous is that the passing of time is almost invisible while it is happening. You wake up believing you have years, yet the years disappear in the rhythm of ordinary days. That is why urgency is so vital. It wakes you up to the truth that you are standing on a vanishing platform. Every choice you delay is a choice you may lose. Every step you do not take is a step you may never have the strength or the chance to take again. This is why delayed obedience is not simply slow obedience. It is often disobedience altogether. You cannot treat the call before you as something to be penciled in between distractions. The invitation has been made, the moment is here, and the voice calling you forward will not call forever. If you could see how few seconds remain before the door shuts, you would not waste even a breath wondering if you should move. You would move because the time is shorter than you think. True freedom comes through surrender, not resistance. The world teaches you that freedom is found in doing whatever you please, in answering to no one, in guarding your autonomy as if it were the crown jewel of your existence. But that kind of freedom is an illusion, a mirage that promises liberation while quietly binding you in chains. You can chase your own desires endlessly and still find yourself restless, unsatisfied, and trapped by the very things you thought would set you free. What you call independence may, in truth, be captivity disguised in attractive forms. Habits you cannot break, fears you cannot silence, emptiness you cannot fill. The pursuit of self-rule often leads not to liberty, but to a deeper kind of slavery, one that seeps into your thoughts and choices until you no longer recognize how bound you truly are. Real freedom is not the absence of a master, it is choosing the right one. You are not made to drift aimlessly, governed only by fleeting impulses. You were made for alignment with something greater than yourself, something pure enough to trust completely and powerful enough to break every chain that holds you. True liberty begins when you surrender your claim to be your own ruler, because you are not built to bear the weight of sovereignty over your life. The very design of your soul cries out for guidance, for truth, for an anchor in the storm. The surrender that seems like loss is, in reality, the first step toward gaining everything your heart has been searching for. Surrender is often misunderstood as weakness, as if it means resignation or defeat. But the surrender that leads to freedom is the boldest act a human being can perform. It is the refusal to let pride dictate your path any longer. It is the choice to lay down your weapons in a battle you were never meant to fight alone. The impossible thing is not to keep running, not to keep fighting, but to stop, to open your hands and release control. That is where freedom hides, waiting for those brave enough to exchange the illusion of power for the reality of peace. In the moment you yield, you are not diminished, you are strengthened. You gain a strength that is not dependent on your mood, your resources, or your circumstances. You discover a peace that no storm can take, because it does not depend on the absence of storms, but on the presence of an unshakable foundation. You stop living as a prisoner of your own desires and fears, because the one to whom you have surrendered holds authority over both. This freedom does not leave you aimless. It gives you a purpose so strong that every step forward carries weight and meaning. The paradox is that surrender feels like death at first, the death of control, the death of self-importance, the death of illusions you have built your identity upon. But beyond that death is a life you could never have constructed for yourself, a life where you are no longer enslaved to the approval of others, no longer bound by the expectations of the world, no longer chained to the mistakes of your past. You become free not by running from authority, but by running toward the right one, trusting that his rule is not tyranny but love. The freedom you gain through surrender is not fragile. It cannot be stolen by circumstances or destroyed by loss. It does not fluctuate with your mood or vanish when life turns dark. It holds you steady because it is rooted in something far greater than yourself. It is freedom that lasts because it comes not from within you, but from the one to whom you have given everything. And in giving everything, you find that you have lost nothing worth keeping. The choice you make now echoes into eternity. Every choice you make is a stone dropped into the still water of eternity, sending ripples far beyond the boundaries of this life. The weight of a single decision may not feel heavy in the moment, yet its echoes will outlive you, reverberating in ways you cannot yet see. This is because life is not a series of disconnected events, but a continuous line, stretching from the first breath you took into an existence that does not end. Every word spoken, every step taken, every path chosen is part of a story whose conclusion will be read forever. The urgency of this truth is that the choice before you now is not simply for today, it is for always. It is easy to believe that decisions can be revisited, that there will always be a chance to rewrite the story later. But some decisions close doors that will never open again. Some moments are turning points, and once you pass them, the road back is gone. Eternity does not offer the same flexibility as time. In the realm beyond this life, choices are no longer made, they are only revealed. The path you walk now will be the path you stand upon when all is unveiled, and the direction you take today will be the one you follow forever. The most dangerous mistake is to treat eternal matters as though they are temporary. You can afford to be casual about the color of your clothes or the arrangement of your furniture, but you cannot afford to be casual about the condition of your soul. When the stakes are infinite, even the smallest decision carries infinite weight. The question is never simply, what will this cost me now? But what will this cost me forever? To live without asking that question is to walk blindly toward a cliff, unaware that every step is bringing you closer to the edge. The choice before you is not between comfort and discomfort, or between gain and loss. It is between life and death, light and darkness, freedom and chains. To refuse to choose is, in fact, to choose, because neutrality is a myth. The middle ground you imagine does not exist. There are only two kingdoms, and you are moving toward one or the other. The decision you make now will fix your direction, and that direction will shape the whole of your eternity. This is why the present moment is sacred. It is not simply a fragment of time. It is the intersection where the temporal meets the eternal. Right now, you have the power to decide the course of your forever. That power is a gift, and it is a gift with an expiration date. Once the final breath leaves your body, the opportunity to change your course will be gone, and your eternity will be the harvest of the seeds you planted here. Every second is a seed, and every seed will grow into something you will live with forever. The echo of your choice will not fade. It will ring in the halls of eternity without losing its strength. To make the right choice now is to secure a joy that no loss can diminish and no time can erode. To make the wrong choice, or to make no choice at all, is to fix yourself in a reality you cannot escape. You will live forever. This is not in question. What remains in question is where and with whom you will live that forever. The answer will be decided not in some distant future, but in the breath you take now, in the step you take next, in the choice that stands before you at this very moment.